Hey you guys, and welcome to my channel. In today's video I'm going to be doing a little plant tour. So I'm going to be going and showing you guys all my house plants and telling you a little bit about how I take care of them and just like a little plant education. Even though I'm like definitely not the most knowledgeable person about plants, I do know a little bit. So I'm going to go through my apartment and just like show you guys my plants, introduce you to them, let you know like how I take care of them and like what I've done, what's worked, what has not worked, because I have had a few houseplants die, but I'm really excited to show you guys. So let's go ahead and get to the tour. Alright you guys, I'm sitting on the floor, so I'm gonna start with my first plant. Here she is. This is plant number 1. This is my ZZ plant, and she has grown so much. It's actually insane, but I'd say this is a really easy plant to care for. I just water her, it's a she, like once a week, and I don't have to give it a ton of water, so it actually does really well without a ton of care. And I do give it like pretty direct light, like there is a big window right behind me, so all these plants get a lot of light. She actually recently grew a few branches. Like this branch is new and it just like came out of nowhere. This branch I think is also new, and then this one, and then this one actually it kind of fell over, but it luckily bounced back and like started growing upwards again. So this is my ZZ plant. Everyone tell her how pretty she is. Alright, so my next plant is this little guy, my snake plant. And this is like one of my plants that I've had for the longest. I think I've had it for like 4 years maybe. It doesn't grow a ton, but it does do really well. I give it direct light. Snake plants are like the easiest plant to take care of, and I water like maybe once every 2 weeks. I could probably water more and it would grow, but it won't die if you don't like give it a ton of water. So I think maybe some people water theirs more, but that's what I do with my snake plant. Next plant we have is actually very new. This is my pothos plant. It grows like long vines, and I'm pretty sure it's a pothos. If I'm wrong, let me know, but it's somewhere in like that family. And these do better, like they like to dry out in between watering cycles. I recently had one of these die. I got it and had it in my shower, and I think the moisture from the shower grew some kind of mold in the soil, and by the time I repotted it, it was too late. So I got a new one. I actually got 2 new ones. You'll see the other one later. But these ones are also easy to care for, but I'd say not as easy as the snake plant or the ZZ plant. So stay safe. My last plant in this little corner over here is my birds of a feather plant, and literally she's huge. Literally out of the camera. What happened to her is that she spilled over when I was moving. She spilled over, and this is kind of like how I learned to like repot plants, because I was like, okay, now I really need to repot it. And I got some peat moss, which is like something you can put in soil to make it drain better. And I put peat moss and mixed it with the soil, and then that's when this huge, the really tall leaf I just showed you grew out of it. So like that really helped it, and it's doing well. I think I might repot it again and get like maybe a bigger pot or like more sturdy, because it is like leaning a little bit. So that's this corner of plants. Let's go see the rest. Alright, so I do have one more plant in this room, but I keep it on another table. That's why I forgot. But I have another snake plant here, and I kind of already went over the snake plant, but same thing here. Like, doesn't grow a ton, but I also don't have to water a lot, and it doesn't die. So I love snake plants for that reason. But I also do love like seeing my plants grow. So if anyone has tips on like getting a snake plant to grow, let me know. Alright y'all, so I'm now in my office, which is like where I work. So I like to have plants in this room to just like give me good vibes during the day. But here I have another pothos plant. This was like the same as the other one I showed you earlier, but it's a little bit smaller. I also just got this one. I did repot this one when I got it, so hopefully that helps it grow. and I'll show you guys a little bit about like how I repot later. The next plant that I have in my office, I don't really know what it is, so you guys can let me know. But I've also had this plant for a good amount of time. It's kind of like skewed, growing towards the light. This one I water also once a week and it's done really well. I do think I need to repot it though, because I don't know that the drainage is great in this, because this pot doesn't have holes on the bottom. I like to have like a saucer underneath to allow proper drainage, and that has like a big effect on plants. The final plant in this room is another pothos. I've had this one for a while and its roots are growing really well. It just hasn't like grown a ton. So I thought that maybe it needed repotted. So I repotted it a few weeks ago, and then I looked at it and noticed that like the roots weren't growing into the soil very well. So I tried to like prune it a little bit, like kind of pull the roots out, and repotted it again. And now it seems to be doing a little bit better. So then for the plants in my bedroom, we have this nice succulent kind of like display or array. I don't know what, I'm thinking of a word, but it's not coming to my head. But my friend Grace gifted these succulents to me and I love them. They're actually so cute. Succulents are like kind of like a desert plant, so they can dry out a lot in between, but they do need to be watered every once in a while. Sometimes leaves underneath will like die, like on the bottom, and I'll just try to pull those ones out to keep it from like stopping the other ones from growing. The last plant in my room is this peperomia. I think that the little leaves on here are so cute. And this just grew out of the top of it. I'm not sure what this is, but it just grew out in the past couple days. So I'm excited about that because it means something's growing. But this plant I had trouble with. I had it in too dim of an area, so I moved it to a little bit more light and it started doing better. I think it needs to be watered more regularly than a lot of my other plants. So that's why I think it wasn't doing as well. But I am like working on watering it more often, and I think that that's really gonna help it grow. So my last plant out here is an aloe plant, and I've also had this plant for a while. It was doing really well, and then I repotted it and it started not doing as well, and the tips got a little bit like orange, and I realized I think it's because the pot doesn't have very good drainage. So on to like how I pot and repot. I have this peat moss, or is that what it's called? Maybe I should stop calling it that if that's not what it is. Oh, it's called perlite. Okay, so I have perlite. I think I was calling it the wrong thing. But if you add this to your soil, it will really like help the drainage. So I added that to the aloe and it's been looking better. But if it doesn't start doing better in the next few weeks, I'm gonna get a new pot and add more perlite to the soil. And then lastly, I just have two potting soils. This is like a succulent soil mix, so I'll use this for like my tropical plants or any plants that are like drier and require less water. So that's what I use for those plants. And then for my normal plants, like my pothos and my like ZZ plant or anything like that, I'll just use this like organic potting mix. It's just kind of like a general potting mix, and this one's really good for those. And like I said, any soil that like I don't think is draining well enough or a plant's not doing well, I'll just add some perlite to the soil and it'll really help with the drainage and like the overall health of the plant. So you guys, that's all my knowledge about plants. I've been learning more actually because my next door neighbor, we became friends, but her and her boyfriend like have a ton of plants and they know so much about plants, so they always like help me and give me advice. So that's how I've learned like a lot of the information that I know. But if I said anything wrong, feel free to correct me. Just let me know. I'd rather know. You know, I don't really want to kill my plants. I do want them to survive. So let me know if you have any advice for me, but hopefully this was helpful to some of you guys who are like wanting to get houseplants but not really sure what to do. So I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to give it a like if you enjoyed it, and please don't forget to subscribe to my channel, you guys. I appreciate all of you guys watching this video, and I hope you guys have a great week, and I'll see you on the next video.